Hello, my name is Rich. My wife's name is Chana. We own a travel agency through Dream Vacations, CMRM Travel.com. Today, I'm going to go through pretty much a start to finish on Norwegian Cruise Line, starting with if you're considering Norwegian Cruise Line, setting up your account, to ending with getting off the boat and booking your next cruise. So the first thing we're going to want to do is set up an account. If you've been looking at cruise lines and you've decided Norwegian Cruise Line is the one that you believe you're going to go on, it looks like your kind of cruise, then the first thing we'll do is set up an account. So here we are on the Norwegian Cruise Line homepage. You can look at their ships and their cruises. You can look at the deals. You can look at why they say to go on Norwegian. You can manage an account, or you can get some help. So, since you've never cruised on Norwegian, then we're going to create you an account. You click on register up here, and you'll get this page. So, you'll need your first name, your last name, and you will need your date of birth. So, these three things are very important. When you are creating your account, your first name and last name need to be what is going to show on your driver's license, birth certificate, or passport to get you on and off the ship. If your first name, last name, and date of birth on your cruise reservation do not match what's on your ID, you may not be able to get on the boat. So make sure you fill in these correctly. Are you allowed towards remember? Well, probably not if you're creating an account. Do you have a cruise reservation? Have Chana or I already booked you on Norwegian Cruise? If we have, click yes. If we have not, click no. Create your account using an email address, a phone number that actually works, because you will get stuff texted to you if you want, and a password that hopefully you'll remember, but like most websites, it's pretty easy to reset your password as long as you put in your correct phone number and email address. Are you working with a travel agent? Hopefully you're going to click yes because you're talking to Chana or myself. We appreciate it. And then you'll create your account. If it comes up with another page that asks you for further information, passport, birth certificate, driver's license information, go ahead and put that in there now if you have it. It just saves you some time in the future. All right, so now you've created your account. Let's talk about what you need to do next. So here we are back on Norwegian Cruise Line's homepage. First thing I want to tell you about is their Cruise First program. Their Cruise First program allows you to buy $300 or $500 certificates for half price, which can be used as a down payment on your cruise. You can only use one Cruise First certificate per room. So, basically all year long you can buy a $300 certificate for $150, which saves you $150 off the room. Occasionally during the year, if you get their emails, you will see that they're saying you can buy a $500 Cruise First certificate. At that point, you can buy a $500 Cruise First certificate and save $250 off the cost of the room because you used it as a down payment. Now, what you need to know about these certificates is that the cruise must be 6 or more days long, and the cruise must be at least 120 days out. And it can be used on any category, interior through balcony. The Haven rooms, I believe, have their own type of discount program for buying certificates. I'll need to look into that. I'm already signed into my account, so I would go to Cruise Deals, and I would go to Cruise First. Once I get in there, it says Purchase Cruise First Certificates. At that point, if they're offering 500, when you use that drop down, you would see 3 and 500, but they're only offering $300 certificates right now, and they cost $150 a piece. You can buy up to 10 of them. Like I said, you can only use one per room. So you can't buy 10 for $1,500 and put it down as $3,000 on the cruise. Once you choose how many you want, 1, 2, 3, put your payment information and pay for it. It links it directly to your account. That's why you'll have to sign into your account before it'll let you buy them. Now, I mentioned one per room. You can gift them. So if you're going to take your family, your kids, your in-laws, your friends, and you're going to offer them a Cruise First, you can buy 5 Cruise First certificates and you can gift them to anybody you want. So there's the Cruise First program. And we're back on the Norwegian Cruise Line homepage again, because I'm going to show you some of the deals that they offer. The first one, which is the big program that they offer pretty much all year round on every cruise, is their More at Sea program. Their More at Sea program has 4 included items. They have the unlimited open bar. Now, some people argue that it is not free or included, because if you choose to accept the unlimited open bar, they do charge you $30 per person per day for gratuities, which is still much better than the $80 to $110 per person per day for a drink package that most cruise lines charge. Specialty dining. If you book an interior or an ocean view room for a 7-day cruise, you get 1 specialty dining. A balcony room gets you 3 specialty dinings on a 7+ day cruise. All right, so again, people are going to argue that the specialty dining is not free because they charge you $20 gratuities per person per specialty dining, which is still better than the $40 to $75 cover charge plus gratuity on top of that. So 40 plus 20% would be $48. $75 plus 20% would be $90. So $20 for a specialty dining instead of 48 to 90-ish. Enhanced Wi-Fi package. That is free, but it only includes, on a 7-day cruise, 150 minutes of Wi-Fi. On a 7-day cruise, I can upgrade to unlimited Wi-Fi for one person for $109 and some change. I can upgrade to unlimited streaming Wi-Fi for one person for, I believe it was $179 and some change on a 7-day cruise. Now, be advised that even with the unlimited streaming, you cannot make phone calls using your normal phone number. You cannot make FaceTime FaceTime calls. There are other apps that you can use to do FaceTime type videos and see people, and you can actually stream and download your videos and whatever other stuff. Excursion credits. With the package, this is actually free. I don't know why you wouldn't accept it. It's a $50 excursion credit. So if there's 2 people in your room, only the first person gets it, or only one person gets it. If the excursion you want is $100 per person and you're both going on it, it would be $200 minus $50. If the excursion the both of you are going on is $40, the first person's would be free and the second person would be paying $40, so it would cost $40. The free airfare. So free airfare is free airfare for the second guest. Round trip. Now, you have to realize that you do not have choice of your seats and your flight times. So if you tell Norwegian that you want to fly the day of your cruise and return flight the day your cruise gets back, then they're going to put you on whatever is most cost effective for them. And you can always go to that airline's website, create you an account. Well, it depends, probably depends on the airline, but with Delta, you can create you an account and you can upgrade your seats or you can upgrade your flight times. But that will probably end up costing you more than just booking them yourself to start with. But if you're not worried about being in the main cabin and don't worry about maybe getting a bad flight time, then go ahead and go with it because it does save you money. The last time I checked for somebody, I think Norwegian wanted $500 for the first person and the second person was free. And when trying to just book them on a flights.com or some other website, the cheapest we could find was about just under $400 per person, which would be $800. So it did save them $300. But like I said, when the ship gets back in port and you're getting off the ship on that last day and you're off the ship at 9 o'clock in the morning and Norwegian puts you on a flight that leaves at 9 o'clock at night, you have 12 hours to see the city or to sit in the airport. And if the city is something you want to see, then that may not be a bad thing. But if it's something you want to get home because you have to get ready for work the next day, then you're probably going to want to get on a noon, 1 or 2 o'clock flight so that you can be home. All right, so some more things that Norwegian includes or says will send you offers for. You may get an email that say kids sail free or third and fourth guest sail free. You have to realize that there are a lot of cruises that do not get included in that. If you want to get on one of their newest ships, I can almost guarantee that third and fourth guest, whether they're adults or children, are not going to sail free. And even on the cruises that they are going to sail free means they're not going to pay a cruise fare, but they will probably still have to pay port taxes and fees, which on a 7-day cruise can be anywhere probably between probably between $200 and $400 for port fees and taxes on a 7-day cruise. Shorter cruises obviously would have less taxes and port fees because they don't stop as many times and they're shorter. Cruise deals. Military. I'm looking for military. So if you're military and you've set up your Norwegian account, go ahead in there and use ID Me to become verified as a military member, because as a military member, you will get a 10% discount at this point in time on any room you book as long as there is a veteran, current, active military, or veteran in that room. At this point in time, for the rest of this year, well, through September 25 sailings, Alaska and Europe, if there is a military member in that room, is a 35% cruise fare discount on that room. Now, are there cruises and dates that are not included in that? Probably. But 35% discount is a great discount to go to Alaska or Europe. Teachers. Teachers have a 5% discount, and teachers have a $50 onboard credit as long as there's a teacher in that room. I believe that ID Me is also the way that teachers would prove who they are to Norwegian Cruise Lines. And at this point in time, teachers are getting a 25% off Alaska and Europe cruise through September 2025. But remember, I'm sure that there are cruises that are not included in that. Past guest offers. Sometimes just as a past guest, they will have certain cruises that have a lower rate. Resident rates. I have no idea how cruise lines do this, but most of them do it where they'll say residents of California and New York get this special rate for these weeks, for these cruise sailings. Why? I don't know. Somebody at the cruise line decided that they're not getting enough people getting on their cruise ships from California or New York and decided to give them some type of discount. Um, it's very interesting. All right, welcome back. So one of the next things I'd like to tell you is to use a travel advisor when you book your cruise. Okay, so my wife and I have a franchise with Dream Vacations, which allows us specials that not every travel advisor can get you. Now, are you going to pay the same 90% of the time, 80% of the time? Probably on the cruise fare, but Dream Vacations offers to give you credits on your room, onboard credits. They offer to pay your onboard gratuities, which can amount to $20 per person per day during certain times. They have other specials that they offer. They also offer if you book your next cruise within 30 days of returning from the cruise you went on, a special for that. So you can stack specials upon top of specials and get value out of using a travel advisor like Chana or myself. So once you're booked on a cruise, you're going to want the Norwegian Cruise Line app on your phone, because at certain points you will be allowed to do certain things. Starting about a year out, you'll be able to look at the excursions and book your excursions. If you have a desire to do an excursion that is highly desired, like swim with the stingrays, swim with the dolphins, go to a certain resort, rent a cabana that there's only 10 of, you're going to want to do this as soon as possible. So start looking at your app and start booking your excursions as far out as you feel necessary to not lose them. I don't believe Norwegian puts on there that there's only 1 or 2 or 5 left. I have gone on and tried to get an excursion for my wife and I, and it would only let me select one person, which to me meant there was only 1 spot left. So they do sell out, and if they sell out far enough in advance of the cruise, then they may look for another operator that can also do that so that they can put more people on it. But on private beach areas where there's only 5 cabanas, once those sell out, they're sold out. Also, starting at about 120 days out, you can book your specialty dining. So at 120 days out, 119 days out, if you have specialty dinings that you have paid for, I would get on there and book them so that you can get the 5:30 or 6 o'clock at night at the steakhouse instead of the 9:30 at the steakhouse, because the shows usually start at 10 o'clock, and if you have a 9 or 9:30 reservation at a steakhouse, your dinner's going to take an hour and you're going to be late for the show. Also, the adult comedy shows start later. You're going to want to have your nights for something other than eating at 9 o'clock at night, unless that's just when you like to eat. Talking about excursions, you can book through a third party. Go on Google, find you a company that does excursions, and you can book them. From my experience, the savings is not that much, and the amount of worry now on you to not make it back to the ship is high. So book with Norwegian on your excursion, pay an extra $10 per person, whatever it is, because they offer you the guarantee of getting back on the ship. So if the bus breaks down and you're 2 hours late, they're going to sit there and wait for you. If you book through a third-party vendor and the traffic or something comes up and stops you from getting back on that ship at final boarding call, they are free to leave you there. Now, do they wait? I'm pretty sure they do, because I've been on cruises where we were supposed to depart the port at 4 o'clock and it was 4:15 or 4:30, which to me means that not everybody was back on the ship when they were supposed to be, and the ship did wait. And maybe they were waiting for an excursion that had come through Norwegian and was late, or maybe they were just waiting for 2 people that, didn't make it back. There's also a resort for a day, where you can go to one of these all-inclusive resorts on the island at the port you stop at, and sometimes they include alcohol, sometimes you can get a cabana, but they usually always include the beach, the hot tubs, the pool, the lounge chairs, the shade. Usually you'll have to pay for your drinks, but sometimes they include like 2 free drinks when you go there. You'll pay for your food. Again, it is on you, if you book one of these resorts for a day on your own, to get back to the ship on time. I've already talked to you about booking your specialty dining. Do it as soon as possible so that you get the hours you want. Also, have your travel agent, if Dream Vacations isn't paying your gratuities, have them go ahead and just include that into your booking so that the price doesn't go up on you, because the price of gratuities, daily gratuities, which covers your main wait staff, the person that cleans your room, it covers that. And right now on Norwegian, it's $20 per person per day. In the Haven, it's higher than that, but $20 per person per day. You include that in there as your payment, and the price will not go up on you. If you choose not to include that and the price goes up by $2 per person per day, that's $4 per room for 2 people, which is another $28, but it's just easier to let your travel agent include it for you. All right, I've already talked about your packages. When you open the app, you can add specialty dining. So if you booked a 7-day cruise in an interior room and you get 1 specialty dining included, and you want to buy a package of 2 more specialty dinings, do it before you get on the ship. And like I said, do it probably 120 days out so that you can book the times you want. Because when you get on the ship, it costs more than when you do it on the app before you get on the ship. And the same is true for excursions. So even if you're looking at an excursion that you don't think is going to book out, if they want $100 per person on the app, it might be $120 per person when you get on the ship. So you are better off on every cruise line booking your stuff before you get on the ship. Some cruise lines charge a lot more, and some is just a little more for them. And most cruise lines, it's a significant increase. All right, so about 30 days out, you'll be able to do online check-in on the app. So this includes checking all your personal information, name, date of birth, passport information, making sure that's all correct in the app. You're going to set up a payment method. Put a credit card, that's my recommendation, on your account as a payment method. They do hold money, so if you put your debit card on there, your account, just think it will have money held And if it's on your checking account that you pay bills out of, you might not want that. You need to take a selfie. You need to set up an arrival time. Now, arrival times usually start around 10 or 10:30, depending on the cruise line. And it's either a half-hour window or an hour window saying that you're going to arrive between those times. Now, most cruise lines that I've cruised do not adhere to those times on the sheet. So if you set up a 10 o'clock arrival time or a 1 o'clock arrival time, it doesn't matter if you show up. If both of you set that times up and you both arrive, one at 10, one that's set up for 10, one set up for 1, they're going to allow you both to get in line, and you're going to be in that line. So there are two thought processes with this. My thought process is pick a 1 or 2 o'clock arrival time and walk right in. And that's usually how it works, because if you pick a 10 o'clock arrival time, even the people that have picked 11, 12, 1, 2, 3 o'clock arrival times, a lot of them are showing up between 10 and 11. So you're getting 80% of the people that want to get on the ship within the first 2 hours, and you're getting in line. So unless if you're paying for priority boarding, then you're going to be in that line, and it doesn't matter if your piece of paper, your boarding pass says 10 o'clock and the guy in front of you says 2. Most cruise lines are not even looking at this. Now, some do, and they make them get in line and wait until their check-in time, but most don't. So, also, on check-in time, if they have a problem with customs, or a problem getting docked in the morning, or a problem with their computer systems getting people off the boat and on the boat, and your check-in time was 10 o'clock, you may not start getting allowed onto the boat until 11 or 12, because they need to make sure everything is right before they start letting people on the boat. So trying to get that very first check-in time is taking a gamble. The people that argue against me on trying to take something in the afternoon are the ones that are like, well, I'm paying for the drink package, I'm paying for the food, I'm paying for the day, I want to get on the ship. And that's going to be your personal preference. I myself, I'm perfectly happy getting on the boat. That's right, Norwegian, I called it a boat, but it's a ship. It is not a boat. It is way too big to be a boat. But I'm perfectly happy getting on at 2 o'clock. You can watch your safety video. It may get emailed to you, or it may be in the app. Watch the safety video. Sometimes that's glitchy, because I believe I had to watch it 2 or 3 or 4 times just to get it to acknowledge that I watched it. I think you have to keep your phone open and make sure you're actually watching it the whole time as it plays through, because if your screen lock comes on while it's playing, it doesn't count. Okay, so online check-in is between 21 and 3 days. So do your online check-in. Don't put it off for the next day and the next day, because for every when it gets to 3 days before the cruise, you can't online check-in anymore. And every person that doesn't do an online check-in takes 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 times as long at the check-in counter as if you had done your online check-in. Because if everything's perfect with your online check-in, your picture was good, even if your picture isn't good, because that's the biggest problem, they just retake your picture, issue you your cards, look at your information, your passport or your ID, and they let you on the ship. Well, they let you have your room cards, and then you get to walk onto the ship. All right, so another important thing once your cruise is booked, if you're within 6 months of your cruise, you need to figure out if you're staying in a hotel the night before the cruise, if you're going to drive down the day of the cruise, if you're going to fly in the day of the cruise, how you're going to get there, where you're going to park, all this important information. So I recommend, if you're a year out, you book your hotel, because the hotels in that area will get full of people, because you are not the only person getting on a cruise that day. Depending on which port you're at, there may be 5 or 6 ships that are exchanging people. So if you look at the average ship has 30,000 to 3,500 passengers now. We'll just call it 3,000 times 6 ships is 18,000 people. So if 20% of those 18,000 people, 3,500, decide to get a hotel room with 2 people per room, that's like 1,700 hotel rooms in that area held up. So if you want to have a hotel room the night before your ship, go ahead and book it. Decide where you're going to park. Parking at the port's going to cost you probably $25 per day, and they're going to count it as 8 days, not just 7 days, because you go into the next day. So 8 days, you're going to pay $200. Usually, there's a company within 15 minutes of the port where you can park for probably half that price. And if you're going to stay in a hotel the night before you get on the cruise, then you may find a hotel chain that allows you to stay at the hotel and get a transport to the cruise and leave your car at the hotel. There is a Days Inn in West Cocoa Beach, Florida, off of I-95, that my wife and I stay at. The last time I booked one, it was $169 or $179 for the night for the 2 of us. We stayed the night. I left my car there for the week. They provided the transport bus to the port and from the port back there for the $179, which is less than it costs to park at the port. Staying the night before takes some stress off of you. You don't have to worry about getting there and getting on the ship. Now, if you live an hour from the port, then obviously you're not worried about that. But if you have an 8-hour drive or a 3-hour flight, then you're going to want to try and figure this out. Now, flying in or driving in the day of the cruise is risky. Okay, especially during times when there's snow or severe weather that can mess up flights in the country. Because if a bad weather system hits the north side of this country and messes up hundreds of flights up there, and you're only flying out of Atlanta and going to Miami, well, the flight you're getting on, that plane may have been coming from Boston and may not come in for you to get on, and maybe 3 or 4 or 5 hours late. And if that happens, then you're not having your flight to Miami. And if you haven't bought cruise insurance, then that's completely on you, because the cruise line is not holding themselves responsible for you getting to the cruise port. And that's every cruise line. So stay at a hotel the day before, because then if your plans get messed up and held up for 12 hours, you're still going to be down there or over there to be on your cruise. Continuing on with how to get to the ship. So we're at the point where we're saying, all right, we know how we're getting to the port, so we're getting to the port. You park where you're parking. You walk over to your port, or you get a taxi, or you get a shuttle from the parking lot you parked at or your hotel. You get to the ship. Now, hopefully anybody on YouTube that is helping you get cruise information will say this. When you get on the ship, you need your identification information. So, your license, birth certificate, passport. Do not put those into checked bags. Do not put those into bags you're going to give to a porter. Do not put those anywhere other than into some bag, purse, pouch, backpack that will stay on your person 100% of the time. Because if you do not have your ID, your license, your birth certificate, your passport, you will not get on that ship. Your bags with that in there might get on the ship, but you're not getting on that ship. So you get to the ship, you go to check in, you've done your online check-in, they check your IDs, they give you a room card, they say welcome aboard, enjoy your time. You walk through the terminal some more, you scan your badge, they let you on the ship. Where do you go? Ooh, if it's your first time cruising, look at the deck plans, see where the restaurants are, talk to some people that have cruised before. The buffet will be open. On Norwegian, their 24-hour restaurant will be open. They have 2 different ones depending on which cruise line, which ship you're on. You have O'Sheehan's, and I can't remember the name of the other one off the top of my head, but you have those. You can get food. If you're planning on jumping right into some kind of water, make sure you got your bathing suit. Make sure you got excuse me, what you need to be able to get into the water, because when you get on the ship, you're not going to be able to go straight to your room unless you chose a 2 o'clock check-in time and the rooms are ready. But if you get on the ship at 10 o'clock in the morning, you'll be on the ship for 3, 4, 5 hours before you get your room. All right, so it's 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon and somebody makes an announcement on the ship that your room is ready. You go to your room. If you find something wrong, find your room attendant, or you can even call your room attendant, because when you look at the phone, it'll show you a phone number for your room attendant, more than likely. Let your room attendant know what's wrong, because he or she is going to be the first line to fix it anyway. Going down to customer service is just going to make you wait in line, and the first person they're probably going to try and contact about fixing your room is your room attendant. So talk to your room attendant. If you're at the buffet and you can't find silverware, you can't find plates, something's wrong, some food looks bad, tastes bad, something, let one of the employees know. There should be staff both behind the serving areas and out and about walking around, and you'll see some that look like they're in fancier uniforms. Those are going to probably be, the not really bosses, but the higher ranking people that are supervisory. But ask anybody, if you need something, and if they don't have the answer, they will get somebody that will get you the answer. So getting your problems or your questions fixed is easier than trying to complain about them later. And nobody wants to complain on their vacation, because you're there to enjoy yourself. When you go to a main dining or specialty dining, if the steak comes out burnt, undercooked, ask for another one. Don't go blasting them on social media because your food wasn't right. Let them fix it. And if they can't fix it in 3 tries, then I guess you can blast them on social media. There's going to be stuff that goes wrong. You have, on a small ship, probably about 1,900, 1,800 passengers. And they have big ships now that can hold 7,000, 8,000 passengers. So somebody's going to have something that goes wrong. Maybe just a little slightly wrong, maybe big wrong. But try and let somebody fix it for you. All right, while you're on board, enjoy yourself. Your app will show you what times all the restaurants are open that day. Your app will show you what shows are going on that day, what entertainment's going on, what food preparation things are going on. Your app will show you everything that's going on that ship every day. So while on board, there's a Cruise Next area. These people will book your next cruise for you. These people will sell you Cruise Next certificates. Now, when I was on my last cruise, they offer you to buy $250 Cruise Next certificates. And you could buy up to $2,000 worth for $1,000. And the way they show it on your room bill is kind of weird, but they basically charge you $2,000, $125 or $250 at a time, and then they rebate your money $125 at a time. I mean, it works out, but it's just kind of weird. So Cruise Next can be used on any booking that is more than 120 days out. If you're booking a balcony or above in a 7 or more day cruise, you can use 2 Cruise Next certificates on it. Yes, very good. So you've got it. So Cruise First certificate, $300, half price, saving $150. 2 Cruise Next certificates, saving $250, like a $500 Cruise First certificate. Now, hopefully you're signed up for emails from Norwegian. Hopefully you enjoy Norwegian. And every once in a while you get an email that says triple up your Cruise Next certificates, which means now you can use 3 $250 certificates as down payment on your cruise, saving you $375 off the cost of the cruise. And it may be just for balcony and above. It may just be for 7-day and above. But if your balcony and above is $2,800 for the 7-day cruise, you're saving $375, almost $400. That's $2,400 for a balcony room. Not bad. Also, the Cruise Next people can book your next cruise for you. They say they can save you money. They showed one option where it was a significant savings, I think $700 or $800 on a specific cruise. So if you have a specific cruise you want to go on, you're like, oh, about a year and a half or 14 months out or 8 months out, it has to be at least 120 days out. But if you have one and you're wanting to go on a cruise, look at it, research it, have your travel advisor find you one that's a good deal and find you a price and see what price they can get you at that point in time before you go on the cruise. And say your travel advisor says, well, this specific cruise, this specific port, this specific date is going to be $2,500 for this specific type room, and you get on and your Cruise Next people on that cruise can get you that room for $2,000, take it, because they're going to give that cruise back to your travel advisor. But if you do book one, let your travel advisor know, because Dream Vacations does offer an additional incentive for booking a cruise while on your cruise or within 30 days of returning from your cruise. So that's just that's in addition to any other specials that they're running at that time. So I've never pre-checked prices on a cruise to try and book one while on a cruise just to see if I could save money. And now as a travel advisor, I don't know that it would work for me. So if you do that, put me some notes in there and let me know that you did get a significant savings off of what you knew was the price a week before that. All right. Again, my name is Rich. My wife's name is Chana. We have a Dream Vacations travel agency, CMRMTravel.com. Hopefully you found this information useful. If you have, please please subscribe. I would like that a lot. We appreciate your business and look forward to assisting you with travel needs. If you have questions, we will do our best to answer them as quickly as possible. And Watch our website for specials from different cruise lines. If you liked this video but would like to see it for a different brand, I would be more than happy to do that for you. But not having traveled on some brands, I would prefer to travel them first so that I can have some first-hand knowledge. Norwegian, we have been on several times. I don't know that we've had a bad trip. The Norwegian Epic, which if you search on Google, does get a lot of bad ratings for weird setup, bad balcony rooms. We went on it. It was a good cruise. Some of the stuff you see, the setup of the balcony rooms is in like a wave form, and it does make the room kind of awkward, and for tall people it makes the bed kind of short. So some of the stuff that you see, you have to take it with a grain of salt. But all in all, we do enjoy Norwegian. I've watched videos where people rate Norwegian's food as one of the best. I've watched videos where people rate Norwegian's food as one of the worst. I've watched videos where people rate Norwegian in the top 3 of the main cruise lines and in the bottom 3. So it is all personal preference, and it may just be the ships you get on, because if you get onto a smaller ship with nothing for your teens or preteens to do, then you're probably not going to have a great vacation, because part of going on vacation is to allow everybody to have something fun to do that they want to do. So yes, but if you get on one of Norwegian's ships that has a huge splash pad area for preteens, and big arcade for the teens, and rock climbing wall, and lots of sports and other things for teens to do, they're probably going to have a better time than on one of these smaller ships that has less for people under 21 to do. Every other cruise line has ships that range from 1,800 to 6,000 passengers, and more than likely on any of those cruise lines, if you take your teens or preteens onto a small ship that is more adult oriented, they're not going to have a great time, which means your family vacation isn't going to be great. So talk to a travel advisor. Let them help you in deciding on a ship or a cruise or an itinerary if you're not quite sure, because in the end it is going to be your decision, but maybe they can point out some specific things that you didn't think about or you didn't realize about the cruise line or that specific ship, that may make you go back and do some more research to try and decide if that's what you want to do for your family vacation. But all in all, cruising is a great family vacation. It is a very high value for your money vacation, because you don't have to do the dishes. You get to feed the kids all day long. The kids can play, the kids can do their thing. But if you're not on the right ship for your family, it may not be as enjoyable as you had hoped. And since you are taking your time and your family and trying to do something that you're all going to enjoy, let somebody assist you with that. Again, thank you. Like and subscribe. Please watch this video to the end. That helps me out. If you have other videos you would like to see me make, and I'll try not to talk quite so weird in the future. Thank you.